peaks and troughs of the light waves to a tenth of a thousandth of a millimeter. So he has a little cryogenic slide trombone that moves up and down and matches the waves from the two sides to achieve the perfect focus.
It's fair to say that this is as accurate as any telescope ever made.
That's the intention, that it is of huge dimension. It's 23 meters from the tip of one mirror to the tip of the other mirror, and we need precision to a tenth of a thousandth of a millimeter when we point, when we track, when we adjust the optics.
One question I think I must ask you, if I want to know this, will the LBT actually show you a planet of another star?
That's our big hope, along with our sister telescopes that combine light in a different way, with the Keck telescopes and a very large telescope. This one is uniquely positioned to get a wide field of view with this very sharp resolution. That we complement those other telescopes.
It's a great project, and so thank you so much for coming over, and many congratulations. I think the LBT will certainly go down in history. Has a long, long way to go yet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
News notes. Well, another body in the solar system has been classified as a dwarf planet. This is Marke Marke. It's of the same type as Pluto, a bit smaller than Pluto, and moves around the Sun beyond the path of Neptune. Now, you use a telescope the Sun's size to see it. Now, why Marke Marke? It was discovered some years ago, soon after Easter, and then nicknamed Easter Bunny. Well, you can't that kind of name, so for a mythological name had to be found, and Marke Marke is a creation goddess of Easter Island, so the Easter connection is still there. So we have a new dwarf planet. Welcome back to Chris, and of course Pete joining us now. And interesting things happening on Jupiter.
Yes, there are, Patrick. I mean, Jupiter's a very, very dynamic planet anyway. It's not well placed for us in the UK at the moment.
Too low down.
It's in Sagittarius and it is really low.
But it's bright. If you see it, it's obvious. It's the bright thing on the near the horizon after sunset and for much of the evening.
Absolutely. A number of people have been asking what it is, and it is that bright thing, as you say, but it is terribly low.
In this small telescope we'll show you the belts, the main things, including, of course, the Great Red Spot, a whirling storm. It's persisted now for several centuries.
And the Great Red Spot is actually the cornerstone, if you like, of the story of what's happening at the moment. But it has a companion, of course, which is Oval BA.
And it's just south of the Great Red Spot, and that means it moves at a different speed.
It moves at a different speed, and it meets up with Great Red Spot every 2 or so years. But now there's even more interest, because there is a third spot, which is known as the Little Red Spot. It's red again. It has appeared unusually at the same latitude as the Great Red Spot, and as it's travelling at a different rate around that latitude to the Great Red Spot, something untoward is going to happen because they have to meet up.
But in fact, that's just happened.
That's just happened. It happened towards the back end of June, beginning of July. The Great Red Spot was actually having one of its encounters with Oval BA at that time. I like to think of it like putting clothes through the mangle. Basically, the Little Red Spot had to slip between those two spots.
And there were very high winds there, don't you get?
Incredibly high winds, and what happened was it basically got shredded, and bits of it were seen going around inside the Great Red Spot, and then it got spat out the other side.
But it may about to have even more violent things happen to it, because it may be dropping back towards the red spot
That's
itself.
what I thought will happen, yeah. It will have dropped back, and then it will go through another interaction again.
Let's look at the moon as seen from Deep Impact. Deep Impact studied Comet Tempel 1. Part of the probe smashed into the comet in a spectacular explosion, but the flyby spacecraft took images of that and is now on its way to another comet. But it's also looking back at Earth, and here's the moon transiting in front of the Earth.
That's amazing.
It's great, isn't it?
It is.
As seen, it's false colour, but still, as seen from Deep Impact, it comes back round again.
Slightly sadly, that actually looks like a simulation to me.
Well, it's a long way away. It's about 30 million miles from Earth, I think is the number. So the point of doing this is, A, it's fun and it looks great. But secondly, this is Deep Impact's mission now. While it's on its way to its next cometary target, it's studying stars to look for the brief dips in brightness that are associated with extrasolar planets passing in front of the star.
The transit method.
Exactly. You see these tiny blips and you know something's not in line.
They are tiny blips.
Absolutely, but this is a large blip, so that you can think of this as a nearby version of the same method. So,
Were the colours, by the way, correct?
no, they're not real colours in that image. This is a mixture of infrared and then blue and green.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's slightly redder than you'd expect with real colour. There is a real coloured version
Yes.
around, but this one shows the details of the moon much more clearly. And here it comes. You can see it just crossing Africa there.
the thing about the Earth when you see it like this, which is remarkable, is to see that little highlight on there where the sun is shining
Yes.
off the oceans and the clouds.
Yeah, it glints every so often when it
Amazing, isn't
catches something.
Now, let's come now right back near home. Things happening in our outer atmosphere. Please, noctilucent clouds.
Well, there have been some absolutely fantastic displays of noctilucent clouds. So I should explain what a noctilucent cloud is, first of all. These are very high clouds. They occupy a very thin layer of the atmosphere, about 85 kilometres up. They're about 7 times higher than the highest cirrus that you would normally see. They're supposed to be quite rare, actually, but you can't see them unless the lighting conditions are right. And this occurs when the sun is below the horizon. So there is no light coming to illuminate the normal clouds, but the light can get up to the really high levels. And when this occurs, and you've got the right twilight conditions, these clouds appear to shine in the night sky. In fact, that's where the word noctilucent comes from, night shining. And they have a sort of steely blue coloration to them. They have a lot of structure, and they're very, very distinctive.
Don't forget, it's Perseid time. The Perseid meteor shower occurs every year, maximum early morning of August the 1st.
It really is worth going for it in the early morning hours, because that's when you're likely to get the best view and the most likely probability.
And something that we should see, though, that is the partial eclipse of the moon on August the 16th.
That's right.
80% and maximum about 10:10 summer time.
It should be quite an interesting partial, actually, because it's 80% is a big amount of the moon to be eclipsed. Do you think we're going to see colour with that?
I think we certainly will. You know about no eclipse of the moon, because everything depends upon the conditions in the Earth's upper atmosphere. All the light reaching the eclipsed moon has got to go through our atmosphere, so it depends what's up there.
I think reddish, pinkish, but light.
Dark
anyway.
reddy brown, I think.
Dark greyish.
Okay, well, we'll see who's right. But that's the joy of a lunar eclipse, is waiting to see quite what colour you're going to end up with.
And of course there was the eclipse of the sun. That was on August the 1st, only about 20% partial here. I hope you saw it, because it was taken in other parts of the world, and next month we have reports of what that total eclipse was really like. And believe me, it'll be fascinating. Pete, Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Next month we're going far beyond the solar system. We're going to look at Galaxy Zoo, and if you want to know what that is, join us next month. Until then, good night.